Word. Okay, Boker Tov. Uh, we learned Le'ilu Nishmat Avigdor Chayavram Ben Rachel Mer Tzvi. Mer Tzvi, who's in Chutz La'aretz right now, but way back. Bezrat Hashem this week.
Wednesday.
All right, good.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, oh, that's right. We're crossing paths. I leave Wednesday night. He comes back Wednesday. Chicago to see my mom. Yeah, and others, but mostly because of my mom. Otherwise, I wouldn't be going back so many times. Okay. Amen for good stuff. Amen. Okay, we are in chapter 4, Mishnah 4, or Dalet, Mishnah Dalet. We're still working on the second half of the Mishnah. I have one more comment to make. It's this, or it might be Mishnah 5 in some of your printings. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer, right? Okay. Oh, actually, we still have something to do in the first half of the Mishnah. No, we're on the second half. Sorry. We're just on the second half. Okay, sorry. I'm back. I'm here. Vodka. I don't drink, but at least not vodka. Yes. Anyways, so Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer, Kol HaMechalel Shem Shamayim B'Seiter, whoever profanes the name of God, does a chil Hashem in private, Nifraim Mimenu Begalui, God will pay him back, punish him openly. Echad Shogeg, Echad Mezid, B'Chil Hashem. Whether a person does it by accident or on purpose, Achil Hashem is Achil Hashem is Achil Hashem, and you're toast. Okay, so where we left off last week with this statement, we have two things to talk about. One is, I left off last week talking about a couple of people in the Gemara who gave examples of what it means to do Achil Hashem. Okay, and they were really way out there. Like, it's not, they didn't say this, but basically they said, look, if someone sneezes, I don't say, bless you, that's a chil Hashem. Okay, they're very extreme examples. So the question for us is, what do we, as normal mortals, what would be considered chil Hashem for us? Okay. So we can come up with some pretty obvious things. If we're, on an airplane and we're obviously recognizably Jewish, and we do something that gives a bad name to Jews, then okay, that's a chil Hashem. Okay, but we don't have to go that far. The Gemara actually gives us an example of what a chilul Hashem is. We're on chapter 4, Mishnah 4, the second half of the second statement. We're going to just talk about right now, what is it? As yours is number 5. Yeah, you're printing. It might be, yours also, it might be number 5. It's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka said. Yeah, chapter 4. Chapter 4. I mean, you could go to chapter 5, but you won't find it. I actually did that. Tell you, now that you mentioned that, first I have to tell you a story. So a number of years ago, it's not something I heard this in somebody. I used it once in a class. It had to do with improving yourself and stuff. And I asked people, our age group, let's say, can you read a map? And of course, we all grew up hopefully learning how to read a map and also telling time with an analog watch. The kids go, I can't tell time. And I asked the group, if I gave you a map, would you be able to find your way to get from, let's say, Ma'ale Adumim to Tel Aviv? Yes, absolutely. You could show me on a map. Yes, no problem at all. You're positive? Yes. So I give someone the map. He opens it up. He says, I can't tell you with this map. I said, why? This is because it's a map of New York City. I said, right. That's the whole point. We think we know the way of something, but we're really going with the wrong map in life sometimes. We have to find the right map to guide us. So that was not an original idea. I don't remember who I stole it from. I may borrowed it from. But in any case, so that helped me. So thank you, Steve, for that. That digression now for me. Anyways, so the Gemara discusses, what does it mean, a chilul Hashem, in general, for the average person? So Abaye tells us as follows. It says in the Pasuk, V'haftat Hashem Elokecha, you shall love Hashem, your God. And what does that mean? Besides the actual feeling of love for Hashem, that people will love Hashem through you also. Meaning that they'll see how you act and how you just on a daily basis, you're a good person. Wow, this kind of person, the kind of people I want to be a part of. You learn, you read, you are involved in lives of Talmidei Chachamim. And when you deal in business, we deal with people, you deal nicely, speak nicely and all. So when a person acts like that, what do people say about him or her? happy is the father who taught this child Torah. Asher rabo limdo Torah. How happy is the teacher who taught him Torah. What does it mean? That when you walk the walk and talk the talk, that's already a Kiddush Hashem. That's the right thing. People look at you and say, oh, this is the kind of person I want to be like. The opposite, though, he says, is as follows. Person learns, and they shuckle in davening, and they wear 3 pair of tefillin a day, and whatever they might do, and all kinds of great. But they're not honest in business, and they don't talk nicely to people. What do people say about that kind of individual? This guy was even learning Torah. Woe is to the father who taught him, and woe is to the teacher who taught him. What does it mean? What is Avot telling us? How we take the Torah into the street with us, how we act. Do we use the Torah to really, when we learn halachot, do we put them into practice? When we learn hashkafa, Jewish philosophy, and how to act. Because the Torah isn't just about making a bracha, putting on doing a mitzvah. That's the mechanical part of it. But the Torah is how we live. So, and when you think about it, if a person tries their best to live in the ways of Torah, it really is a framework for literally the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. There's a framework. It's very. I like structure. I like structure and I like planning. So, people who don't like structure, people who don't like planning, people who cannot work within the time frame becomes a little bit more difficult. Doesn't mean it's bad, just that's their personality. But Abaye is telling us, you know what a Chilul Hashem is? When people are going to look at you and say, that's what a religious person's like. Feh, I don't need that. And we see that, unfortunately, too many times. Sure.
But the Mishne says,
oh, we're getting to that. Okay. Excellent. We're getting to that because it doesn't make any sense. It says if someone does a Chilul Hashem privately, Hashem pays him back or punishes him publicly. Well, if it's privately, who sees him? Right? Yes. Okay. But how's it a Chilul Hashem? You're right. You're on the right track. You're right. We'll see. We'll see. Very good. Okay. So that's exactly the next point here. Okay. So if you look back at the Mishne again, you'll see the second half. I put up my screen because I didn't bring my book. He said, so whoever profanes the name of Hashem, heaven, in private, that Hashem will punish him openly. So until now, we were talking apparently about things in general that you do Chilul Hashem, that people see you. It's out there in the public sphere, as they say. The Tiferet Yisrael he's a commentary on the Mishne, on Pirke Avot especially. Says that there are 2 types of Chilul Hashem. Number one, the one that has a negative effect from your actions on other people, like acting like an idiot in public and not acting like a person's supposed to, and giving a bad name to Jews, especially, by the way, we're talking about among Jews and among non-Jews, and it's worse potentially among non-Jews, potentially. And I can make an argument it's worse among Jews because it causes people to say that's not what I want to be a part of. I actually had a person, someone who was considering converting, and was kind of along the way already, and then this is many years ago, and called me up and said, I don't understand something. Some Haredi demonstration was going on here, and there was some violence. He says, is this what Judaism is about?